Good morning, everybody. Economic Ninja here. Hope you're doing good. So it's finally happened. Here we go. We're going to dive into the news. Evergrande has finally defaulted. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and give a little bit of some possible scenarios. So this is the way Evergrande ends. Not with a bang, but a whimper. And that is true. To be totally frank, it is insane how quiet China has been able to keep this and how under wraps this collapse has been, not in the mainstream. But I guess this, honestly, in this day and age, it is so easy for the mainstream media to be able to silence things. They've been doing it on this channel. It's gnarly, and I can't wait to see you guys at the Economic Ninja Summit in Dallas to be able to explain this kind of stuff. Because, or actually my podcast, I'm going to do a little bit more podcasting, but I've done a couple episodes on what happens behind the scenes with the news. Just for people like myself on channels like this, and how we can't tell you everything. It is absolutely insane. So here we go. 3 months after the initial shockwave of fear that China's largest and most indebted property developer was set to default, and it roiled global markets, only to see the company repeatedly kick the can down the roads, as a final default was just a matter of when, not if. It says, overnight, ratings agency Fitch officially downgraded insolvent property developers China Evergrande Group, Kaisa Group, saying that they had defaulted on offshore bonds. Now, guys, remember in August I talked about this, where I said everyone's going to become a pro at the term CMBS. Now, that hasn't happened yet. I believe it happens in January. And that is what we're talking about defaulting right now, commercial mortgage-backed securities. Now, there's more companies than just Evergrande and Kaisa Group right now that are in trouble. But I also said watch, and it did happen, watch for China to go to Evergrande and say you are to hold together the Chinese bond holders, make them whole, but you need to pick the offshore bonds to start defaulting on. So that's what's going on right now. And I believe down the road, this is going to cause some big issues for multiple countries, but especially America bondholders in these bonds, because they were so massive. It says the downgrade to the so-called restricted default status came days after the company failed to make an offshore bond interest payment, even though Evergrande and Kaisa have officially announced defaults that will result in drawn-out debt restructuring processes and potentially nationalization. Now, another thing I want to point out here, Fitch is just now doing this downgrade to restricted default. But if and so up until now, those bonds were rated at a certain high level, and your pension fund is allowed to buy them. Your hedge funds are allowed to buy them because they, under their charter or their stipulations, the way they do business, they're allowed to buy debt in certain or tranches of debt in certain with a certain credit rating, right? Depending if these are junk bonds or good, highly rated bonds, that's where your hedge fund, your mutual fund, or your pension fund is allowed to buy them. If they would have been watching the Economic Ninja and talking about the CMBS market and how this default was going to lead to something much bigger, and even I was talking about this before Evergrande was even in the news, it would have been a whole different story. So again, and I've done videos about this, Fitch, S&P, and Moody's are always late to the game, okay? But just so you know, the guys inside those companies, they know what's going on too. So it says right here, Fitch defines a restricted default as indicating an issuer has experienced a default or a distressed debt exchange, but has not begun winding up processes such as bankruptcy filings and remains in operation. Now think about that, guys. How insanely stupid is this? Fitch is finally getting around to saying the issuer has experienced a default. They experienced a default months ago when they were late. That is technically a default. To me, late is late. What happens to your credit score when you're late on a payment? It gets dinged. Even if you make the payment, you're now dinged. But yeah, you don't see Fitch running around back then and going, nope, sorry, we got to downgrade. The truth is, Fitch also understands how big of a deal this is, and they're trying to downplay this, but just so you know, the same thing happened with Bear Stearns, which led to Lehman Brothers. This isn't the end. I want people to understand that. This has ripple effects, and it's already affecting. If you remember, we're talking about right here, Kaisa. We weren't talking about Kaisa when Evergrande was in the news. Okay, Kaisa is a result of Evergrande. Okay, because what happens is two things. The ripple extends out to other companies because other companies might be invested in the company going under at first. But also what happens is a magnifying glass gets pulled out when one company's going down, and then they start to focus on other companies in the same field. So those are two ways that these ripples affect the industry. And I'm telling you right now, we are going to see a ripple effect in America and in Europe like you wouldn't believe. And I believe personally, this isn't trading advice, not investment advice. I'm not an investment professional. I believe that you're going to see the big waves hit in the spring to early summer of this next year. So I just want to leave you guys with this. I don't want to read a whole article to you because, come on, guys, my reading is horrible. I'm going to go ahead and link this story below and then let you guys take a look at it, and then comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this. Do you think that this is going to be huge in America, or do you think this is just going to be in China? China's going to nationalize the company and it's all going to be good. They're just going to print money and get us out of the way. So that being said, guys, I thank you so much for watching. The Economic Ninja is out.